am thinking out loud. I'm thinking about how we have been trained to bow down to authority, right? Like whenever we see any videos from horrible police brutality, like what is the clapback? Usually comes from the people just saying, and also those that have been entrenched into the system. So patriarchal too. People who have that authoritarian bend, right? So growing up, it's the parental units. You do as I say, not as I do. The teachers, the principals, the bosses, the landlords, the cops, the elected officials. Like, we have been trained in this pecking order of who is an authority over me. And I think that, I guess I did it just subconsciously, right? Like, this is what we've been trained. This is what we do. I was very, very good girl. But when you start unwinding like the social the social construct, is that the right term? But basically the truth of what it is. Like, what have we been grown up being told? Like, we live in a country of freedom. Aren't we lucky? Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. But it's not the truth. Like, that's not the reality. And if you think that, then, that's a very privileged space to be. Because for most, it's not. We are bowing down to this higher authority who is, quite frankly, an abusive parent. Like, whether we look at the patriarchal pecking order of our government and our elected official, whether we look at this all-knowing, all-powerful God, like, whatever, all of these different constraints that are putting us in these boxes of obedience are really quite abusive. And if you've done any of the healing that is in that, you recognize those cycles, those patterns of abuse, and decide, I'm stepping out of that. If I am a sovereign being and you are a sovereign being, nobody has authority over me. And to put these constraints of fear and control, that unless we abide by these rules that are being made up as we go, and the more we go, the worse they get, that benefit none of us, like, at what point do we say, I'm not participating in this abuse anymore? You have no authority over me. And I think that there are two roles that still need healing that we can play in that scenario, right? We are the ones that need to be authority over, step over, higher than, to find any kind of personal power. Somebody has to be below me. Or our sense of self has been so buried that we actually believe that to be true. And it can go through varying degrees and across the board of all aspects of our life. But part of this space of coming back to self, which I think is what the healing process, journey, whatever is coming fully back to self. It's also recognizing that I am my highest authority. I am a sovereign being. And you cannot threaten me on all these different measures if I don't fall in line to that pecking order? I mean, like, what are we being shown? Whether consciously or subconsciously, what's being implanted in us is this could be you. And it can, really, if you don't, right? Like, I've been saying this for, I mean, not just me, many of us, and I'm so glad we're starting to find each other, is we got to get back to each other and recognize, like, the big baddie isn't in me, it isn't in you, it isn't the person who looks, thinks, worships different. We don't need any of these big daddy abusive people, systems, any of it. We need each other.